was a good Thursday practice. Liked a lot of things I saw. Making a lot of progress, I think. Hopefully, we'll take it to the field. Still some things you got to get cleaned up, but we're still a work in progress. But I hope our attitude's good and our demeanor ready to come out. We're going to play a heck of a football game on Saturday. This team's a really good football team. We need to start fast, finish stronger, and do the things we need to do and improve and get better. So hopefully we will. Questions?
Injuries?
Injury report right here. Of course, Darvin Taylor and Vickers are out. Vickers got a concussion. Sean is still doing good. Keith Bryant Campbell and Derwin James are out, until they get back. That's it.
So Josh Sweat is available to play?
Oh, yeah. Practice last 2 days. Done well.
Has he seen any swelling or anything like that from the
Very minimal. I mean, he's healing really well. Got it out. Looks great. The report I got out there yesterday, this morning, and today. We'll see in the morning, but it looks great.
What have you seen from that defensive line?
Big, physical, strong, big guys. I mean, big by 6'6", 290, 320. I mean, big guys, hard to move, you know what I'm saying? And very physical guys.
With their quarterback being able to, he played a lot in the pocket, but he's just able to just go and burst out the pocket at any time. How are you telling your kids to just kind of just
got to put pressure on? Well, you say that, and then you say don't rush them and get your lanes, but you got to get pressure. You got to turn it loose. You got to stay gap control. You got to reduce the pockets. You got to cover your guys, and you got to retrace your steps if you see, if you recognize zones and scrambles and things and play. But you got to get after. You got to affect the quarterback. We got to affect him.
We talked about how Fred was doing really well. How's Wally doing, the second?
Who's that?
Wally Amy?
Getting better. Getting better and better every week. Feel comfortable putting him in the game. He's played a lot of snaps.
When you look at the duo between Cook and Patrick, what's the ceiling for these guys? These guys are like they can.
Well, the ceiling for a lot of guys in football is always based on the guys around them. Those guys can be really good players. They're still developing. And believe it or not, everybody says Dalvin, but he's still developing as a player. Keeps getting better and better, in the different areas, from getting better in pass blocking, catching the ball, running routes. Even his zone reads, the running and things he does. And Jaquez is still progressing, but the guys around him have to play well for them to progress. So hopefully we'll keep doing that. But they can be really good players. I like them.
How's Derwin progressing?
Good. Derwin's actually could be walking off the crutches. We won't let him. He's whatever that Polk County mud is. He heals up well. He does. He heals fast.
Joe, there in the show, Dalvin said he kind of had to go a little soul searching. Before the season, said the Heisman hype kind of got a little bit to him. Did you kind of sense that?
Every kid I've ever had does. Never had one in the history of college football that all that stuff does not affect in some ways, and you got to learn to deal with it. And there's only time and experience can do it. You can talk to them all you want, and it's not their fault. It's a new thing in the world. It's like something new. It's like a new baby. It's a baby when it sees something new every day. It's growing and learning, and those different pressures, expectations, people talking, what to do. That's all part of growing as a player and dealing with that, and that's all things that you have to deal with. And then finally, at the end of the day, you look at yourself. You know what? Just play football. At the end of the day, that's why I keep all that hype, all the stories you write, all the stuff you do. At the end of the day, why do you write them? Because you play good football. So at the end of the day, play good football. But it's a human nature for those things to bother you. It is, and you got to learn to go through it. He's done a really nice job.
Does it help for him to deal with that type of pressure? Playing with a guy like James 2 years ago.
Well, it does, I think, but still, you think till that pressure comes on you, and you gotta do it yourself. You know what I'm saying? And it's not the pressure. It's just, how do you want to be all things to all people. You can't do that. I want to be the greatest guy in the world. I want to please him. I want to play well. You can't do that. You got to be the same guy you always were. And that's what they find out in the end, and they are. And great kid.
You talk a lot about multitasking the world and clutter and stuff.
Creates it.
But is it a matter of the kid's maturity to eliminate all that, or as coaches, how can you get them up to?
You educate them. And what the biggest thing about clutter is selecting priorities. And that's what most people can't do. Most grown-ups can't select priorities. They want to do everything too. What do I really have to do? What is really important? And the rest of it's garbage. Because there's only so much time in a day. And for a college football player, going to school, do your community service and all the things you got to do there, play ball and study, what other time you got? You don't. People joke about it, and you want to see them live normal lives. They can't. There is not, and not be good, and be a good student, and do everything right. There isn't enough time. You got to learn to prioritize, and that's hard for those kids. It is. It's a growing process. It's very difficult and hard. People think it's easy. It's not, because you got to have downtime, family time, relaxed time. There ain't much time in the day when you're doing things well.
Is it different for guys that from Miami all the way to Tallahassee type of?
Yeah, it just depends on your background, your priorities. and what you've been exposed to. And that doesn't make you right or wrong. That's why I say college is such a great experience, and that's why it bothers. We sped this process up so much. How we got to play them, how they got to get to the NFL, how you got to, all that stuff. Before, a lot of guys figured it out the first 2 years, and you guys didn't know about it because they weren't playing. Guys didn't play the redshirt sophomore, junior years, senior years. And the sped up process, and these guys having to do it as freshmen and sophomores and things, it affects them. You're rolling your eyes. You don't believe that?
No, I would. Earlier in the week, you're talking about sped up process. The AFCA approved 6 underclassmen being able to be evaluated.
They should.
Okay.
They should. I'm pushing for that. One of the things Nick and I and Urban, we had a conference, we was trying to do some things, because we have a lot of those guys, to get the proper information to the kids. It's not so they can make an education. We're having too many guys say, well, I'm going to get drafted, and then they don't get drafted. Or guys saying, well, they ain't going to get drafted, and then they do get drafted. I mean, because the NFL, they don't get the exposure to the kids because you protect them so much. So they don't really know how to evaluate them. They don't get them in a process the right way to give them the right information. Do they stay or do they go? You know what I'm saying? They don't get them until you're out there. So they need that information, that time with those kids, to give them the proper information so they can have the opportunity to make a great decision in life. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's wonderful that we're heading in that direction.
Do you think that, because it went down for a year, but it's gone up again the last 2 years, that might curb the number of underclassmen going to the
I hope so. Do you know there's more undrafted free agents on teams now than there are first and second round draft picks in the NFL? Did you realize that? Undrafted free agents. You know why? Because there's so many kids entering the draft. And they can get them for cheap. They're buying them on sale at Walmart. They're buying those guys on sale and they ain't got to pay them much. Pay their certain superstars and let those guys rotate. And then when they play 3 or 4 years, if they turn out great, they get another contract. If they don't, you know what they do? When they have to start paying them more? No, I'll go get me another batch. And they don't really want to, but it's smart business. The kids are giving them access to undrafted free agents because there's more juniors coming out and you got draft picks. Now, what sense does that make? The kids are selling themselves short. They get to this dream of, I'm going to go and, well, can't get her. Get an education. Do it right. If you're a high first-round draft pick or go. If you're not, stay in school and do what you're supposed to do. And it's watering everything down. How do we get on that? We got a game against North Carolina. We got a game on North Carolina. I mean, I deal with that. I mean, that's things I deal with. I had to go over that the last couple of days. That's things is on my mind because that just came out. And that's things on the day that I have to make decisions on and ask your opinions on and things like that. So.
Is the starting offensive line going to remain the same for the UNC game?
Yes. Yes.
You kind of like that matchup with against that defensive line?
Well, I hope if we play well. I mean, they got a good group. I mean, I like matchups when we play well. That's when I like matchups. But they got good players too, and I'm sure they'll be ready to roll.
Is Brock a good example of a guy who fall camp didn't necessarily go his way, but he sticks with it and gets his opportunity?
Just keeps on wood. Don't get mad and quit. Don't get mad because I ain't playing. Don't take my ball and go home. Just keep sawing wood. I'm a sophomore. I'm learning to play. Just do what you got to do. We're good? Thank y'all.